Welcome to the episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Today we're featuring a really unusual vehicle. This is a Christie front-wheel drive fire engine from 1911. I believe, if it is not the very first Los Angeles fire truck, it is certainly the first, one of the first couple of LA fire trucks. Nobody knows exactly for sure, but 1911, not much was happening much before that. Why does it say Wayne, New Jersey on it? We'll get into that story in just a little bit. These are really fascinating. Walter Christie was an engineer. He actually invented the tank, which the US government thought was a ridiculous idea, and he sold it to the Russians, and then we went, oh, wait a minute, that tank thing's pretty good, and they brought him back. What this is, now you have to remember in the late 1800s, early 1900s, most fire engines were horse-drawn. Like this rig here is $18.99. And it cost probably around $10,000 at the turn of the century, which is a lot of money. So when fire trucks came in, most fire departments couldn't afford to switch from horses to fire trucks because they bought all this equipment for hooking up to a horse. So what Walter Christie did is he invented this system here, a set of planetary gears, big 20-liter four-cylinder engine, and you would just hook this up here to your front-wheel drive engine. And it saved 90 cents to the dollar as opposed to using a horse. And these were popular from about 1911 to about 1920. After 1920, most municipalities switched over to full-time trucks, and these kind of went out of favor. But it's a fascinating piece of Americana. Let's meet the fire chief from Wayne, New Jersey, Willie Rodriguez. Willie, come in, buddy. Good to see you. Last time I saw you, you're a captain, right?
Yeah, no, assistant chief now.
Oh, assistant chief.
Yeah.
So if the chief was assassinated, you would step forward.
Right
so you are literally a heartbeat away.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
it is.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. Let me tell you how this all came to be. A number of years ago, Burbank had and still had one of these, and we used it for a Jay Leno's Garage shoot. In fact, they brought it to us to fix because they couldn't get the clutches to engage. You couldn't get it to move. So we fixed that. We got it to move. We were doing a photo shoot for the TV show, and boom, piston went through the side of the block. We took it apart. It's almost repaired now. We used a company called Lock and Stitch to fix the hole in the side of the block. But I was so intrigued by the engineering, I had to find one of these. And I searched all over, and I called places that had one. Well, go ahead, you take it from here. What happened there?
Well, we had problems with the with this engine, and most of the guys that worked on it are passed on, and we don't have too many guys that know how to work on this. We had another antique that's more newer, so this one we had no idea. I saw the video of you with the Burbank,
right.
And I emailed Andy Swift and for advice, and that's when he hooked me up to you, and
right.
we made it.
Now, Andy Swift owns a place called Fire Restorations up in Maine, and he does all antique fire engines. That's what he does. And we sort of hooked up, and I found out that this fire engine was originally bought brand new by Los Angeles Fire Department. In 1970, it was sold to Wayne, New Jersey as what, an antique?
Yes, antique.
Okay,
yeah.
like for parades and stuff like that?
Yeah, for parades, you know,
Okay.
we guys back in the 70s brought it down to Wayne on the train, actually, and the train tracks was right next to the firehouse. They unloaded it, put it into the firehouse, took the whole thing apart, and worked on it for about 5-6 years,
right.
And put it back together.
Okay. It was running then.
Yes.
But then what, about 40 years ago?
Yeah, about 30, 40 years ago, we had problems with the wheel.
Right.
It had a wood there, inside there, where the wheel would slide off.
Right.
So it has a lot of weight there. It's almost 9 tons of weight there.
Yeah, you'll see when this goes down the road, this remains stationary and the outer wheel turns. It's fascinating to watch. It looks like Michael Jackson moonwalking.
Yeah,
down the road.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's kind of cool about it, yeah. I want to show people the piston that came through the side of the block. This is the piston that actually bent the connecting rod.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, you don't want to get hit in the head when this comes through the side. No, but that gives you some idea of what you're dealing with. This is what you call road-hugging weight. No titanium pistons in this thing. This is all cast iron, pretty amazing stuff. But look what it did to the end of the rod bolt. Anyway, that was a nightmare to repair, but we got it repaired and it's almost back together. But like I said, I was so intrigued by that I wanted one of these. So I called you guys and said, did you want to sell it? And you said the guy that restored it, right?
Yes.
He was not doing well.
Right. We were looking for a museum to put this in to display it, and we could never sell it, just display it somewhere, in any museum, and that's when, when you called, it was like it must have happened, because when we started looking back in June about where we're going to put this apparatus, the last guy that worked on it, Mr. Bob is his name, he said, call Jay Leno.
Yeah. See, when I called him, the guy that worked on it since passed on, but literally almost on his deathbed, he said, call Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Well, just per chance, I found out you guys had, and I kept calling you, hi, this is Jay Leno. Yeah, right, Clay. You guys kept hanging up on me because I think it was one of the firemen trying to play a joke. I call back, this is Jay Leno. I go, what did I do to get these guys so mad? Why are they mad at me? but you thought since he had made that statement,
yeah.
And so what I did was I got it, we restored it, and I will then pass it on. I will donate this to the Los Angeles Fire Museum because that's where it belongs.
Right.
It was their fire truck originally. So we will give it to them once we're done with it.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun to have. And I think, well, I spoke to the Los Angeles Fire Department and they're thrilled to get it back.
Really?
It's only the last maybe 20 years that people are interested in the history of these things because to the old timers, these are just a pain in the neck to work on compared to modern fire engines,
Correct.
And then a lot of the new guys, the technology has moved so quickly that they have no idea how any of this works. No. So you get stuck in that limbo area, So that's why I just think they're amazing. When you see it going down the road, it's really hysterical to see it move at its own power. It looks so strange. So anyway, I went down to Wayne, New Jersey, and I looked at it, and it wasn't in bad shape, but it had just sort of fallen into disrepair. Right. There was wood in here that held the wheel on, that when you were rolling it would apply pressure. That all cracked and fell apart.
Right.
We came up with an epoxy to hold the wheel onto the tire here, and that seemed to be working pretty well. This is how you started it originally with the crank, and we can start it with the crank. I would say probably around 1913, 1914 is when the electric starter was put on, because the electric starter was on this when you guys got it, and I think it was put on when they became available. There was no starter for it. Andy Swift got us this piece here. Here's a picture of it, take a look. And we were able to, the chances of finding a starter switch for a Christie Fire, that seems almost possible, but he was able to get one, so that worked out great. The radiator was completely shot. That was another problem. And these old type radiators are really, really expensive. I mean, in terms of $20,000, $30,000 worth expensive. But there's a company called L&M Radiator, and they make these tubes. I think it was developed for the Army. So if the radiator got blown out, you could pull a tube, stick it in the top and the bottom, and just replace them. And we were able to do that for about $2,500, $3,000. So that made it really, really interesting. Let's show people the engine. As you can see, it's what they call a T-head, because the piston's in the center and you have a valve on each side, intake here, exhaust on that side. It's a 20-liter 4, which means each piston's about a 327 Chevy engine.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Look at the size of this.
Huge.
Hilarious. Look at this thing.
That's crazy.
It's like a barbell going up and down, this stupid thing. Hilarious. Yeah, these were meant to run under all circumstances, and they did. It's your exhaust here, radiators in the back, see your valves here. Fascinating motors. We'll fire it up in just a minute, and we'll actually take it for a ride so you can see how it runs. Okay. Let's move around the back of the vehicle and show people what we got. As we said, this part from here forward, or here back rather, is $18.99. There's all the old patents there, 1881, 1807. Built by the American Fire Engine Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. 1899, that makes it probably the oldest vehicle I have in the garage. And something kind of cool is this. Back in the 60s, they made a model of this fire engine. This
Right.
is the only one they could find. Franklin Mint did it, and AMT did it here. And look, it's the actual one. See, it says Fort Wayne, New Jersey, and so it's kind of cool.
Yes,
So
it is.
this model was $9.99. So this would probably be $100 now.
Probably.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. I haven't put it together because I got too many real things that are broken I have to put together. Okay, so when the real stuff gets together, then we'll put the toys together. But it's just kind of a cool thing. Kind of a cool thing. Let me put that down for a minute. But something I want to show you that's really neat on this side. Come on over here. These are the brass gas lamps, which are original to the vehicle. You light them with a match. That's how you get your headlights. On this side here, this is your flywheel. This is your electric starter right here. Electric starter probably wasn't on in 11, but I think it was put on 13, 14, 15 because it's period.
Okay.
It is the teens. Trouble was the gear was all sheared off, so we made a new gear. We got a picture of that for you. And we put this on here. As I said, this is the flywheel, or as it was known in the early days, the castrator, because when the entrance, I think some guys would go, hey, what's that engine like? Ah! And that would be it pretty much. That's the end of the whole grandchildren thing, okay? It's not going to happen. So that's why we put this on, because this is spinning pretty quickly, and it's moving fast. So we made this to match the grill. So I think it looks period
good.
correct.
Yes.
We had to run all this stuff past Willie Hughes because the guys are pretty suspicious. You know, some creepy Hollywood guy comes trying to get a fire engine. So I went down. They met with all. They were all like, you know, like this when I went in the firehouse. I don't know about this guy, blah blah. But we think we want him over. So,
Yeah, you got it.
So
Absolutely.
that's why we wanted to make this sure this thing was perfect. But the real heroes here are the guys that restored this originally. Because, you know, having the shop here, we're able to do a lot of stuff that maybe the normal guy couldn't do in his home garage. And most firemen were doing this with money out of their own pocket and not having the tools. So consequently, it was a good job, but it was, you know, for example, cutting a gear is going to be expensive, all that kind of stuff. So the guys had to kind of make do. But they kept it running and they kept it together. That's why we put this plaque on here. This is to honor the three guys, right? I'm sorry, Bob DeGraw. There you go. Tom Chapman, Dickie Saunders. It says in honor of those that went before us, because they were the firemen who really took 5 or 6 years to restore this thing and get it back in shape. Because like a lot of vehicles in this period, it wasn't valued when it was just old. Now it's an antique,
Right.
but then it was old, and it was just something where, you know, get that piece of junk out of the firehouse. You know, it was just one of those things, and these guys loved it and cared for it, and that's why we wanted to put that plaque on there to honor them. So that was kind of fun, and I hope their family gets a chance to see that. What else? Oh, the thing that I think is really cool is that all these fittings are the same fittings from modern fire hoses.
Yes.
Fire hose, the thread pitch hasn't changed in, what, 110 years, whatever it is? I mean, it's pretty amazing. So you could use this as a modern
Correct.
firefighting piece of equipment.
We need to, yes.
And this pumper is steam driven. That will pump 1,000 gallons a minute,
Yes.
which is pretty much equal to what a modern fire truck will do. I mean, it'll literally shoot the hose way over the building. I mean, it's pretty cool. This was a very sophisticated piece of firefighting equipment when it came out. Because remember, before this, it was bucket brigades, wasn't
Yes,
it?
yeah.
Guys just stand and
Pass buckets away.
hand me the bucket and throw the bucket on the fire and all that kind of stuff. When this came along to pump 1,000 gallons a minute, that was pretty amazing. These are all the hoses that have been on it since you guys got it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I don't think they've left
yes,
it.
yeah.
Well, come around here. Come around the back. We'll show you how this works. And as you see, you got the original run flat tires. Those babies aren't going anywhere. Okay, here at the rear of the vehicle, actually 1899 is this boiler. Pretty amazing. Now this doesn't hold water. What you do is you take the hoses, you hook it up either to a hydrant or a lake, and you would put this on the end of your hose, so when you put it in the water, so it wouldn't suck up stones and rocks and all other kinds of stuff like that. There's another one there. These, I guess these were tight when I got it.
Okay.
We loosened them up here. There's a lock nut there. See, this way you got a little bit of play. So this way it can bounce. It acts as a damper to kind of, when it's going down the road, so the spring will allow the boiler not to hit so hard This is the door for your fire. You put your wood or coal or whatever you're burning in there. The odd thing is these things started as many fires as they put out, because you go down the road and it'd be bouncing and cinders that come out the top and cinders come out the bottom, and you just keep passing fires as you. But that's safe. Better than nothing. And you got your various oil cans. Those gauges are a little new. We're looking for an original set of gauges. Everybody's got some, give me a call, and maybe we can work out some kind of deal. You got a handbrake separate on the wagon here. The big, beautiful stack. You know how much of our Leno's polish we used on that? You know, we developed this metal polish specifically for that reason, and it worked great. So that's our Leno Advanced Car Care Products polish on that. So that did a nice job. A little ad there. And the toolbox, you guys put this in, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, the guys
we
did
ran our own tools. So
nice job there. Nice job there. I think we're about ready to fire it up. Let me get up here. Okay, this is your brake. That's your gas. This is your clutch. First thing I do is engage the starter. You'll hear it clunk. Okay. The gear is engaged. Now she should start. Hop on, Assistant Fire Chief. Oh. Okay. As you can hear, there's no muffler. Exhaust valve, intake valve, right there. Big piston right here. These are primer cups. In cold weather, you put a little gas in there, and it shoots fuel directly into the cylinder. I think we're ready to go for a ride.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, hey. Thanks for
Thank you
trusting
so
me
much.
with this piece of history.
Thank you
know,
so
these
much.
guys are
Appreciate
great. I just showed up and told them what I wanted to do, and they took it at faith that we would do it, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, first ride in it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, pretty
First
cool.
time, right?
You gonna be a fireman?
Yes.
Maybe. Okay, we'll see. But anyway, listen, thanks to guys
Thank
for
you
me
so much.
at Wayne, New Jersey. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, guys. And it's going to go to a good home, as I said. It's going to go into the Los Angeles Fire Museum because this is a piece of their history, as well as New Jersey, too. And anytime the guys from the firehouse are out, they're welcome to come out and check it out.
Thank you so much for
So
everything.
thanks again. And I hope you like this piece of history. It's something a little bit different, but it shows you, isn't it cool how the outside of the wheel goes around, but the inner wheel, yeah, just nothing new under the sun. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.